And it looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. I'm Alexi. I'll be the MC for this evening. We are here playing Checkpoint Midnight, Waltz of Treachery, Season 2, Session 3 of 5. This is a Gauntlet quarterly game. We're in the second season of it, the second month of playing this game. We've got some characters returning from the first season. We've got some new characters in the mix. It's exciting. We're hoping this season will have its own story arc and its own excitement to it. This game is organized through the Gauntlet gaming community. You can find out all about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com. We've got so many cool games going up each and every month, and we've got another round of Gauntlet Community Open Gaming coming up in the fall, which is a way to play with the Gauntlet for free. So definitely check out that and follow the Gauntlet on Twitter at GauntletRPG for more information. The game we're playing here is Checkpoint Midnight. Checkpoint Midnight is a game of Cold War supernatural operatives in the divided city of Vienna. You can learn more about Checkpoint Midnight and sign up for updates at bit.ly/checkpointmidnightlist. You can also follow me on Twitter at ClovenPineGames because I am the designer of Checkpoint Midnight and I'm continuing to develop this game through playtesting with fine folks like these. Speaking of fine playtesters, let's introduce our players. I'm going to ask each of you to just give me the quick rundown: name, pronouns, handle if you wish, fun fact if you so desire. Puckett, will you start us off?
Hi, I'm Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Tonight I have no fun facts to amaze, horrify, startle, or gently sort of tease you with.
Nonetheless, we're very happy to have you here. Leandro, you're up next.
Why do I always pick the right time to take a sip of coffee? Hi, hello. Name's Pietro. You get pronouns. I don't have as fun a fact as that Gundam one since last time. All I'll just say is that it's late where I am, but I'm jazzed to be playing this game as always.
We're jazzed to have you. Good to have you and your character back here. Jesse, up to you next.
I'm Jesse. My pronouns are he, him, and because no one else has any fun facts, my fact will be the funnest. And that is that my dog has recently started eating vegetables when she never would ever before.
Wow.
Fun facts.
That is fun. Well, you're certainly the leading contender for fun fact right now, but we have one more player. Steven, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Oh yeah, hey there. I'm Steven, he, him. Are we interested in introducing characters? No, right. Yeah, and my fun fact, most of my facts are depressing, but I guess I have one fun fact of the reason that the English name for Korea is because Marco Polo visited it in the 13th century when that was the actual name that people called the country. And we have just not updated it since apparently Europeans can't learn new names.
That's a pretty good fun fact. We'll leave it up to our viewers whether that's more fun than the vegetables. Very good. Now's the time to introduce characters. We'll go back around, and if you wouldn't mind, tell us what we need to know about your cool characters. I'm putting their art up right now, so we have it. Puckett, kick us off. Tell us about your character.
I'm playing a guy named Jack Hardesty. Guy is probably not the best way to describe him. A collection of parts reassembled in the vague form of a human named Jack Hardesty. And his mission, his entire purpose at this point, having been resurrected from the dead by a bunch of egghead scientists after he was killed in World War II, is to find those scientists, kill them, destroy their research information, and prevent them from doing this to anyone ever again.
A man on a mission. Have you taken any advancements recently that you want to mention? Anything new that Jack's got going on?
Well, he recently took on a Soviet handler and got a code name from the Americans. I I believe, if I remember correctly, his code name is Deadman now.
Codename Deadman. Yeah, getting more and more entangled with two different sides of the Cold War. Surely this can only end well for Jack. Great to have you.
For Jack, pity the Americans and the Russians.
Let's meet our next character. Leandro, will you tell us about your artful favored? Leandro, did I catch you drinking coffee again, or are you maybe frozen?
Yeah, internet is trying to give up the ghost apparently, but I shan't let it. Hi, I'm playing Emily Landau, who is the favored artful, kind of just scheme monger, I guess, is the way you call her. She cultivates schemes that may or may not benefit her in the future. Who knows? She's incredibly lucky in that regard. All things, who is apparently floating around and came from a dimension of night, which is just annoying her. She's having a fine time in Vienna. Primarily, that's why she's here, is to just have a fine time. Called some kind of power. The most she's done is just get some trinkets, like she got a golden apple last series. Of a painting. Gossip about her ex is spreading around Vienna about that.
Oh well, I can't keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, Valentine responsible for a lot of that gossip. Leandro, unfortunately, you're going in and out just a little bit. Though we mostly caught that, but yeah, just a thing to keep an eye on if possible. Emily recently got a conscience as well, which buzzes about and tries to tell her the right thing to do. And yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Oh, also an invite to a party was the most recent thing we saw you acquire. So we'll probably pick up with you, taking a closer look at that if that makes sense. Let's move forward. Jesse, tell us about your relentless Dreamstalker.
Yes. So Joske Rabinovich is a Jewish Polish Holocaust survivor from Poland. He has been bouncing around, sort of serving a whole bunch of different ideologies since the war, and settled into a kind of nihilistic Epicureanism at this point. But mostly what he wants to do is kill Nazis. And specifically, the Nazis in Vienna are conspiring with a bunch of nightmare elves to take over people's bodies and slowly merge the nightmare realm with our reality, in order to sort of reconnect the master race in the land in the way that they believe it should be. And of course, Joske can have none of that, and so he's fighting it. No one really believes him though. Jack and Valentine, I believe, accepted.
Yeah. It's quite a conspiracy theory he's weaving, but as we've seen, there's something to it, because one of these nightmare fae tried to frame him for murder at an art auction, and we'll see how he deals with some of the fallout from that. You've taken a new move, I think, and an entanglement, right?
Yes. I think my sort of I'm new to Vienna, relatively new to Vienna, I think, but I'm not that new to the game of international espionage. Since the war. So I know a lot of people, and so I took the move from the storied playbook, I think it's called. Gotta stop meeting like this. When you first encounter an NPC, rather than establish your bona fides, you may, or bona fides, I'm never sure how you pronounce that in English, you may declare them an old friend and roll plus operator. On a hit, they offer you comfort and aid, even exposes them to danger or retribution. On 7 to 9, tell the MC why they have leverage over you. On a miss, tell the MC why they want you dead, because it's one of my favorite moves in Urban Shadows, and it's one of my favorite moves here. It's just a great move.
Yeah, all credit to Urban Shadows for that excellent move that I plucked wholesale. Very excited to see that in the mix as well now.
And I have a Soviet handler now, although I have not met them yet. We talked about it a little bit, but you're going to surprise me with who it is. I think it's sort of where we ended up.
Yeah, I think we'll meet them in relatively short order. I feel like. Wonderful. Well, last but not least, let's meet our final character here. Stephen, will you tell us about your wayward shadow?
Well, hello, darlings. I'm Valentine Garvey, son of night. Unfortunately, currently not welcome in her court. I'm here gathering precious objects here for my mother. Bless her soul. But fortunately, I found some side business in ferrying the souls of the dead away from their intended destination back to this mortal coil. I've taken Emily and I are the best of friends. I think that she's the wonderful little ragamuffin sister I never had. And I believe that last session, my cousin Skilla approached me about something. I forget what though.
Oh, I think we'll remind you because
yeah.
I think at the end of the last session we saw her kind of like pulling you away with a demand. So we'll pick up there.
Right.
You also took I think took an advancement in entanglement. So tell us a little bit about that.
I now have a Soviet handler, Elena Kosakova, who has taken an interest to me at that party. And I have a new move, Lady in Red, that when I make a scene glamorous or violent in public, I become the center of attention. And there's other stuff after that, but that's the important part, clearly.
You don't even need any of the other benefits from the move. It's just like, yeah, I want to be able to be the center of attention. That tracks for the Valentine we're beginning to know and maybe love in the course of these sessions so far. Right. Then let's pick up a little bit where we left off.
I'm very charming. Don't resist it, Alexi.
We had seen all the characters at Checkpoint Midnight itself, which is the nickname for a cafe in the city that serves as a sort of neutral ground for the supernatural beings that inhabit the city secretly. Right? There's a masquerade in effect. No one. The general citizens of the city think that mostly their problems are the four occupying powers and not werewolves or Frankensteins lurking in the shadows, but they're wrong. There are problems upon problems here. Anyways, in Checkpoint Midnight itself, people of a supernatural persuasion have the kind of ability to mix and mingle as long as they abide by the rules. No violence, no plotting of violence. And I believe no use of supernatural powers on other people within the checkpoint. This is all presided over by a kindly gentleman, with the alias Herr Franz, who seems to be American, seems to be played by who did we cast? Was that
Sam Elliott?
Yeah. We have Sam Elliott, in full kind of mustachioed glory, playing Herr Franz as the kindly face behind the bar, rumored to have been an incredibly destructive killing machine back in the day, but now he's focused on maintaining this kind of peaceful establishment within the strangeness of the city. So Jack, you were getting breakfast for both your handlers here at the checkpoint. At some point after Trip has stepped away to deal with something else, Lena hands you a file.
Interesting. Should I make sure to open this later when, the young one isn't around?
You can take a look now. It's not as extensive as I wish. That's sort of the problem. We need more information on this fellow returned soldier who's been making his own splash in the city.
God, how many of us are there?
Do you open the file?
Yeah. And I'm going to cross my fingers that it's Timothy.
Oh, totally. Yes, absolutely. Scarred face. So there's you glance over. There's some text about like strange galvanic abilities, right? So there's this figure that's been sort of bedeviling you. Is clearly a person of interest on Lena's side. She says he's a later model. I think they made some improvements since I came back. I'd love to have a chat, figure out exactly who he's working for now and what he's trying to do. If you can run him to ground, that would be a big help.
Do you care how many pieces of him are remaining?
As long as he's mostly together, I can bring him back if need be.
So enough of him that he can talk. Okay.
That'd be good.
I unfortunately know this face. Had a couple of run-ins with him.
She nods like she's not surprised.
There's something you could do for me.
Yes,
there
Jack?
was a tree in the sewers. You may have heard of it. Growing golden apples.
She raises an eyebrow. It's not clear if she's heard of it before, but she's listening.
It's something the CIA have. It's something that I don't think anyone should have.
Jack, we're not going to just storm the CIA.
Of course not. But if you can give me more information about it, I might be able to get it out of there.
All right, fair's fair. I'll ask around, see if I can find out more.
Lena, I think both you and I have the same goal of getting these forces and this strangeness out of whatever is going on between our respective countries. Things are fraught enough without the involvement of the odd.
Sewer trees.
Supernatural.
Yeah, she kind of like gives a world weary sigh, but it's very much in agreement with what you've said there. Yeah, so you're taking are you taking the Timothy file?
Oh, absolutely.
Then unless there's something else you want to play for there, I'll probably cut away to our next operative.
Yeah, go ahead and cut.
Emily, if I recall correctly, you were seated kind of at the bar, and the proprietor handed you an invitation that had been left by another visitor to Checkpoint Midnight.
Yeah, I'm like, Valentine's been dragged away, so I'm ignoring what he's up to. So I think I just kind of like look up to the proprietor and say, I'm not, do you know who left this for me?
Nervous-looking young fellow gave the name Ambrose.
Oh, what a sweetie.
Friend of yours?
You can say that. Well, the way one makes friends in this city, I suppose. Sir.
With a winning smile and a handshake?
Well, there was a smile. I don't know if there was a handshake of any sort. Sorry, you don't happen to know anything about a noble order of the Silver Eye?
Oh, this is interesting. This might be a move, actually, because there's a move for meeting a contact in the cafe to get information. I feel like the proprietor counts.
Okay. I'll do that.
Are you Are you up to roll that for me? That's right at the top of checkpoint moves. When you meet a contact in the cafe, roll with the checkpoint questions and take +1 for each yes. So, are you following the checkpoint's rules?
Yeah, I'm not. I just came here for breakfast. I'm just asking questions.
Do you have leverage on the proprietor?
No. Do any of us?
I don't think any of you have. I don't think any of you have taken leverage yet. It's advantageous to have, isn't it? But yeah. So you're rolling with a +1 for this meet a contact move. Do you have the roll for your party link? Do you want me to drop that back in the chat?
I've got it. I do have a +1, but if I remember correctly, this dice room hates me. This time it doesn't. 13. That's boxcars. So, all right, that's all right. It heard me.
Good use of boxcars. Great. Yeah, on a hit, they have good intel or helpful resources for you, and you don't need any of the other drawbacks there. So yeah, I think.
Thank God, I can't mark stress. Well, I can, but I take a condition. So.
I think the proprietor like taps that invitation where there is that like silver embossed eye, right? He says, "Noble Order of the Silver Eye." Yeah, I've had dealings with them. They're idealists. They think the world can be a better place if they get the chance to gather and research any supernatural whatchamacallits that they find. Lots of Brits, but international. Americans, Austrians, probably even a Russian or two, though it's it leans west. I'd be careful with them. They don't mean any ill, but they're intentionally pulling together forces that are beyond the ken of any mortal.
I think Emily kind of like smirks at that a bit because that sounds familiar to her. She says, well, you don't have to worry about that. What's her friends. I've never been much for ideology. The way I see it, you band together a bunch of do-gooders. Well, perspective, getting people to follow one way is just seeds for something, She's trying to sound really.
Yeah,
she's really.
I'm glad to hear you're planning to be careful, Fraulein. I believe their top gal here in this city is Lady Aurelia Falkirk. She's made her way all the way from Scotland and rented out an old mansion in the British sector.
Right. Do they have any? I mean, you said they got their own deal going on, but are they in any side of? You say they lean west, but push comes to shove, would they choose any side?
Hard to know where anyone lands when push does come to shove. But yeah, he'll elaborate that he thinks they're people who think the world can be changed for the better. But they do kind of there are lots of Westerners among them, so they are it's not a Soviet project, right? It's a freelance project full of people from the US, from the UK, and a smattering of others.
Okay. I think if I look at the invitation again, when is the party? Is it's soon-ish?
Yeah. Yeah, within a couple days.
Okay. Is the location anything should we worry about? Where is it? Like in
it's
a hotel?
It's definitely in the British sector of the city. If we kind of assume that at some point you pull out a map or whatever, right? Or like, or maybe the proprietor has a bunch of maps of the city and just spreads one out in front of you. You're able to see it's a mansion in the British sector that seems to be where this address is pointing.
Okay, I think like I'll just like kind of like finish my breakfast, kind of tuck the invitation back in, and probably just leave a tip to Herr Franz because he's been really helpful. I'm probably gonna go.
Tips his cowboy hat.
So ridiculous in this town. I think Emily is gonna go probably do some downtime if that's okay, because her stress is maxed out.
Okay. Are you hoping to pick up any of your fellow PCs for assistance, or are you striking off solo?
Well, they're kind of busy, and I know some PCs want to hang out with other PCs. No, I'm kidding. No, it's fine. No, I think Emily's gonna strike off because, like, I know Joske said they want to hang out with Valentine, and Valentine's busy right now talking to their cousin, so Emily's gonna head off by herself.
That's all right. Yeah. What's the so? Do you want to give us a sense of where you're headed?
Yeah. I promised my friend Charlotte to like book her, I guess. So this is kind of, I guess the con is that I'm still pretending to be someone's agent.
Yes.
Even though I kind of am at this point. This is like the most legit thing Emily's done.
If you pretend to be someone's agent hard enough, are you not actually their agent?
Yeah, like at this point, I'm basically just becoming their agent. But she's still useful. She got me to that party. So yeah, I think it's like, I think it's mostly we see like just like a series of shots of like, probably like, it's a simple number of shots of like her like talking to like a bunch of like proprietors for like larger establishments larger than Checkpoint Midnight, for sure.
I see. Trying to book her at like upscale restaurants or other places that might want musicians to perform.
Yeah, specifically around the British sector. That's not important. Absolutely not. Yeah, I think the main point is like right now she's probably like living closer toward Soviet Tsar, and it's basically like, look, I know you're from East Germany, like I know it's not been East Germany for a long time. It's 1950 something, but still, gotta get your name out to the West, for the Western Allies, just in case.
This is for real, Emily. This isn't like that art auction where you're going to run away partway through and then the police are going to turn up and start shooting people.
Well, the latter was kind of that was going to happen. You know that. I didn't think there would be shooting. It was an art auction. Come on. And look, like I said, the main reason to be there was to be seen. And don't tell me you didn't have a good time, at least before the gunshots started happening.
She kind of crosses her arms.
Well, yeah. Haven't I kept you busy? You've been fairly busy enough.
I came to the city so as to perform something unforgettable. So far, you've booked me these piddling gigs and brought me to these parties that always seem to get broken up by criminal activity.
Okay, all right. Look, it's all about the right audience, and well, clearly you're just not been getting the right audience. Come on, I know some people over in the British sector, some very nice Americans actually, who've been hanging around that sector, and I know you just. We'll put this together. You bring the right performance, and we'll make the right connections. It'll be grand. You know how it is. All
right. So the con you're running is just continuing to string Charlotte along and to like try and kind of hubristically push in as like as an agent to get her place to perform at these locations?
Yeah, I might have to ask some Americans for some help.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know.
I need to use the leverage I've got anyway.
That's fair, but it sounds like we're probably hitting the refresh move where you're fleecing some rubes along the way here, just by virtue of being the con woman that you are. Does that sound right?
Clear my stress for that.
Yeah, you can clear your stress. That's nice. If it's all right, I'll cut back to Joske. Joske, we'll say we're at the checkpoint. Yeah. I think you kind of are walking over towards your accustomed chair, and someone else is sitting in it.
Yeah. I think. Can you describe them?
A distinguished-looking man, intense eyes, dropping a picture into the character keeper right now, and he's just like looking totally at ease. Sitting back in this, you've described it as a chair with kind of strange, arcane carvings around the all over the wood that you're constantly running your hands over to try and figure out. But he's just still and relaxed and like seems to be waiting for you with a couple newspapers in his lap.
Got it. Yeah. So I think I look at him and I reach into. I had that. I was wearing that sort of like sweater right over a shirt with the collar, and so I sort of like reach into a pocket and pull out a cigar and a cigar cutter, and I clip the end of the cigar, just staring at him the whole time. Start heating the end of the cigar like without like you would to sort of warm the tobacco before actually lighting anything and start to smoke. And then after the whatever the 90 seconds it takes to do that, if he doesn't say anything, I take a puff and blow smoke in his face and say, "Can I help you?"
Yeah, he doesn't flinch. He brings up one of the newspapers, wafts the smoke away a little. He says, "Mr. Rabinovitz, I have a tale of two papers for you." And he holds out the one, and the headline is, Clausen Ayer's fiance dies dies at art auction. Police investigating leads, and there's like a police sketch of your face there. He says, "You're lucky." Perhaps not so lucky.
What's the date on the paper?
It's today's date, but then he holds up another paper with the same date, and they're like totally like mundane quotidian headline. It's not about a murder at all. And he says, "This could have been in every newsstand in the city, but you're more useful not behind bars."
Well, it seems like I owe you a favor then.
That is true. He holds out his hand.
What should I call you?
Spartak.
Spartak? Well, I suppose it's a pleasure to meet you, given what might have turned out if I hadn't. I shake his hand and I say, "So, to what do I owe this honor?"
I hear tell you have an unusual ability, which may be crucial at the present time.
I have a number of abilities, and I blow smoke. I blow smoke rings out of my mouth.
There's an artist in this city who has been painting his dreams. The paintings, well, you came close enough to understand they're highly sought after. But the dreams, perhaps that's where the trouble is all starting.
Well, I know a little bit about dreams. Who do you represent? Who am I? Who? To whom do I actually owe this favor?
So I think you've been around, right, in various ideologies and various movements. So you've met people with names like this. This is clearly a revolutionary name, right?
Got it.
This is like in kind of homage to Spartacus. This is one of those names that people took or their parents gave them in honor of the Russian Revolution.
Got it.
And so he'll say, I think you can guess. He's clearly there's a bit of the gleam of a true believer in those eyes.
Yeah. So I sort of raise my hand and I lift a cigar in toast and I say, well then, to international socialism then. I think I repeat a slow. I don't know a whole lot about but I repeat a slogan of my youth.
He said,
which he may or may not find congenial, depending on the twists and turns of communist ideology. But
there's like a slight frown, like it's an outdated slogan, but he'll say nonetheless,
or a Polish one.
He'll say nonetheless. It's good, of course, to meet a fellow believer in the revolution.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I will. So this painter and his dreams then.
He'll you know what? He'll flip through that same paper and like hand you the art section that leads off about this Frenchman Marcel Mignard who's been putting his dreams to canvas.
Right. And that's the same painter whom Emily took who painted the painting that Emily took.
Absolutely, yeah. So everyone seems to be interested in these paintings.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I'll see what I can find out.
I'll meet you back here.
And then I look at him I stare at him till he gets out of the chair.
He makes you stare a little while, but eventually he leaves. He leaves you to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything else you'd like to do here? We've gotten to meet a handler here.
Yeah, so nothing else in the checkpoint. I had talked about doing patrolling with Valentine. I have an idea about what I'd like that scene to be. It's also my refresh scene, but
yeah. Do you want to try?
I don't know if he wants to do something in the checkpoint first. We can.
Well, do you want to kind of hang out and be ready to step into the Valentine scene, because we're gonna check in on Valentine and Skilla,
sure.
But then
sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm caught up in something.
Joske, we can say like when it feels appropriate, or when I say and now Joske appears, you can step in here. So Valentine, Skilla had kind of grabbed you firmly by the arm and pulled you away from Emily, and she's kind of saying, "Dear cousin, we need to put our heads together. Mother is getting restive. Something has to be sent to her, something good. No more piddling offerings. We need to acquire something splendidly beautiful, or she'll exert a little more control over both of us in the city."
I pull out my cigarette case, slowly take one out, kind of flick at my lighter several times. Finally, it lights. Hold it out for a bit. Just hold it out there, and then finally take a puff. Blow it out. I'm thinking perhaps gold, platinum, maybe. Do you have something in mind,
You
Skilla?
know, Knight. Unworked precious metals are hardly to her taste. It needs something human has to be lost, or else nothing is gained on her side.
Well, of course I meant something worked. You did not think that I was going to take this into some mine, did you? And I kind of gesture down at myself.
She raises her eyes to the heavens. Who was that? Who was that delicious little snack you were talking to at the bar? Could we just give her tonight?
No, not her. She has other eyes upon her that I think would object. And I kind of, Victoria, if you can believe it.
Skilla like gags. And then she says, "Well, what good are you, Valentine, if you can't draw together attractive people to feed to Mother's maw?"
Skilla, human flesh is your trade. I believe Mother wants something a little bit less bloody. I mean, if you recall that last time you offered her up that ship full of Greeks, she was not happy.
She says sadly. Well, Valentine, I don't hear any concrete proposals coming from you.
There's a painter that all the mortals seem quite interested in these days. There was some showing of his. There was a bit of competition surrounding who had ownership over his paintings. I'm certain that Mother would be quite happy to get a hold of something like that, don't you think?
Fine.
If I'm not in conflict with the other player characters,
Yeah.
by God, I'm going to get there.
Highly coveted paintings. Yes, that's good. All right. You acquire these paintings, but don't dawdle about it, Valentine, or I'll have to start gathering attractive mortals just to buy us some time.
Skilla, you as if you needed an excuse to gather together attractive mortals.
I mean,
I kind of arc my eyebrow at her.
For feeding Mother, Valentine.
Oh, for that. And I roll my eyes, even though she, of course, cannot see it behind the sunglasses, and my eyes are just pits of darkness.
Joske, I think you can intrude at any point here.
Yeah, so I think I walk over as I'm getting to the end of my.
What about him?
My
What about
cigar.
him, Skilla dear? He has a certain stoic quality about him, don't you think?
Skilla like
I
cocks her head and like regards you appreciatively, Joske.
I give her a big friendly grin as I take a drag on puff on my cigar. I smile.
I'd be careful of her if I were you. She'll devour you if you're not careful. And I cock my head, figuratively, of course.
Oh, Valentine, you and your jokes.
What are their pronouns?
She, her.
She, her. Yeah. So I take a look at her and I say, sometimes all you want is to be devoured, right? Let's. May I borrow Valentine for a moment, madam?
Please do, but don't be too long.
Valentine, I'm wondering if you might do me a favor.
Oh, a favor.
And I'm gonna. I trying to remember. I don't have in my notes why I have leverage on you.
I
think it's just
believe
because you know about his whole like scheme, right?
Well,
Yes,
that's why he has leverage on me, right?
Yeah, I have leverage on you, but I think you also know about.
I know
you have
about
leverage on me.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
because I know about
it's
your
because
deal.
you know about my whole smuggling business.
Right. So I say, look, I kept that thing quiet for you. This is not a big deal. It would just be real helpful for me. I'd love it. I'd love it if you can just take a little walk around town with me. Maybe show me some of the places where it's thin. I know you. That's some of where your people come through. I just want a sense of, and I'm sort of like I like where the space between the worlds is thin, where it might be a good place to slip in and out of dreams, into the world of nightmares or into the world of death. And
Okay.
this is
You're invoking your leverage for this.
yeah. Well, mostly
now,
I want to
Yosuke,
give.
this is something you're asking of me. After all, there are many who've asked me to take them there. Not Emily, of course. Who I have who have
I don't.
wandered off the road and been devoured.
I have no interest in going on the road. I just want to know the places where maybe the road is parallel to a road here in Vienna.
There is, of course, and this is so you're using your leverage to get what do you want from me here? Because it sounds like you're cashing in your leverage.
So I mean, mostly this was using the leverage was about giving you an opportunity to get XP. Although I'm okay if you don't want to do it.
No, I'm just clarifying. I'm just clarifying what I want to just clarify here before we get into that is just what is it you are asking of me clearly so that I can actually like make good effort to
I mean, so I want to so basically my refresh move is to patrol. Right, if I patrol the city with somebody, although I don't need to do it with someone else right now, I only have one thing. But I think fictionally, it's interesting if instead of like patrolling, actually looking for these Nazi nightmare elves who are probably not just skulking in back alleys, right? The interesting thing to do would be to find to sort of be thin places between the worlds where it might be easier for them to come through. Like if it places like things like that where it might be easier for me to I'm trying to establish like something fictional here.
Yeah. Okay. I want to just work out what we were doing here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
I think that's the kind of thing you would know.
Yes. Well, there is a certain street back during the war. It was used for executions by the Nazis. Mm-hmm. They corralled together many partisans and shot them to death along the wall. Mm-hmm. And is this peshing on any of the lines or veils here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you show me? Like, can we walk?
There are. I should warn you though. There are creatures there that are attracted to that history of pain. Creatures that like to feed on fleshy little things like you.
Wow.
You carry even I can tell that you carry a lot of pain with you, Joske, and I really don't care.
I laugh at that and I say,
but I actually am triggering a move here, I think, because one of my things is when I regale a denizen Vienna with tales of the nether realm or vice versa, I roll plus fable. Would you say that triggers here, Alexi?
Yeah, plausibly. Yoska, you all right if Valentine rolls this as part of?
Thrilled with that. My one thing. What I'm trying to give it to you is not just to tell me, but to show.
Oh yeah, I'm going to totally show you. But
right.
I'm also this feels like even though you asked me to tell you about it, this is triggering my.
No, this is awesome.
Here.
No, I'm so down for this right now.
Yeah. So I want to propose that if you are showing Yoska that maybe you're giving him this warning as you approach the place. Yeah, cool. So we're coming to this site of awful execution and ongoing predation. It sounds like, and go ahead and roll plus fable, Valentine, to attend the tale.
Yeah. So that is. Let me check my fable again. A 9. Which means I choose 1. Yeah, I'm gonna say that I successfully convey the dangers of the other place. That basically is what I was doing. So I'll mark XP.
Wonderful.
I think you're marking 2 XP, one for going along with
Yeah.
Joske and one for telling this tale.
Mhm.
So
And I don't have to. I don't have to erase my leverage for that, right? Because I didn't.
No.
Got it.
In this, it's that you have to take action to cancel leverage someone has over you, right?
Yeah. Awesome. I think yes. I can spend it to like erase things if you don't want to do it. But that's the. Anyways, yeah.
So okay, so yeah, we're at this place, and there's like there's this alleyway, right, that just seems a little in shadow, even when the sun is shining right on it, right? And Valentine, would it be fair to say there's like kind of almost like circling shadows, as if there's birds overhead, but no physical birds to be seen when you take a look? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally that makes sense. Oh, and also I just realized I'm also feeding someone's vices or addictions again, because this is our relationship, Joske.
It really is. Yes. And
that one you can use either to take XP or to clear a stress, Valentine.
I'm getting high in stress. I'll clear a stress.
Can I like try and take a kind of look around here? I'm gonna maybe pull out my amulet, and there's like a little image of it down at the bottom of my thing, so you can sort of see it's like supposedly it's mostly a protective amulet.
So I think we can, if we're, I feel like maybe we've hit the refresh move, and now we're kind of back into play, because it feels
this feels like Decipher.
Tension and effect here.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to trigger here.
All right, great. So yeah, let's say you get your refresh benefit, and then you're going to try to sort of decipher this place a little. Sound right?
Yeah, and I think what I'm doing is sort of the amulet is mostly a protective amulet, so I think I'm taking very seriously Valentine's warning that this is a dangerous place. There are things that might be interested in coming after me, and I'm sort of, by gauging the response of the amulet to the space, whether it's like acting or not or whatever, to sort of like get a sense of what the dangers are and etc.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead and roll Decipher with Fable then.
Got it. My name is Joske. 2d6. Roll it. Well, that was a 6, and my Fable is, I don't think, very good.
It is a 1.
It's a 1, so that's a 7.
Hey, that makes all the difference, right? Because on a 7 to 9, you get to ask one of these Decipher questions, and you're not in terrible dire straits necessarily.
Yeah, and I think what I want to know is, I think this is something also that fictionally, like we can easily sort of figure out like how the amulet's telling me this, but like who's pulling the strings here, right? Like what's on the other side exactly of this weak spot, and who or whatever is sort of using it, who's pulling the strings here?
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, yeah. So I think your amulet kind of maybe like shakes a little when you're like vibrates in your hand, right? Like as it, you can almost like your Geiger count, like you're using a Geiger counter, right? Where you're like just like holding it over different places and getting that sense.
It has these different, like, mostly angelic, but I think also demonic names. Divine names, all kinds of things on this amulet. But I wonder if they heat up or whatever to sort of like indicate different information, a kind of augury kind of story.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. So we'll say we'll say you get kind of you get a couple of these names on your amulet, kind of heating up under your hands, and as you puzzle them over, I'm sure Valentine asked like, oh, what's that, right? Like, are you taking interest in what Joske's weird amulet is doing?
It's an interesting little toy you have with you. Wherever did you get the thing?
You know, picked it up and here and there. You gather things over a lifetime.
Yeah, and I think kind of if as you puzzle over the names, and maybe like say like something aloud for such that Valentine will recognize it, you're kind of together able to put some pieces together. There are kind of netherworld there are netherworld harpies, kind of present, at least adjacent to this space, such that they can snare the unwary, and something about this particular flock of harpies Valentine's able to tie to the kingdom of Hypnos, to the realm of dreams itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that work for you as a who's pulling the strings? At least like a sense of what's on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. In that case, on as our operatives piece that together, I'm going to call for a little break here, and maybe let's come back in 10 minutes at 10 of the hour. All right. See you all back here right then. Are we all back? All right, maybe we'll start resuming because I want to check in with Jack. So Jack, we saw you get a file. We saw you converse with Lena about Timofey as a person of interest. I'm interested in what you do next. Where do we see Jack? Are you setting off from Checkpoint Midnight? Do you have more people to try and see there? Are you seeking out any of your fellow operatives? What do we see?
I wanted to talk to Herr Franz for a moment.
Yeah, you can find him. Checking in on other customers, making sure they're all taken care of, and he'll turn and see you approaching and say, Jack.
Herr Franz.
You got the cookie.
I did indeed. And I was curious, in consideration for the hospitality that you've shown me, is there anything that you need taken care of? Any problems that you need addressed?
He smiles. Very sweet of you to ask, Jack. As it happens, something happened down in the sewers of the city, and a number of establishments in this area have been having some water troubles in the ensuing days. So if there's any way to expedite getting the authorities to fix our sewer line, that would certainly be a great weight off of my shoulders.
I think I might know the problem. And if one were to have a place where I could be assured that something could be stored and not go to any of the great powers to accelerate their drive toward war or tip the balance, I'm sure that it could be extracted somehow.
A safe place for storage, you say?
Yes, indeed.
I might have a room in back.
This is a place that I trust does not cater to any particular ideology, that does not pick sides.
We cater merely to appetites, not to ideologies.
I'll see what I can do, Herr Franz.
He gives you a smile and a nod.
And then I go in search of Emily.
Excellent. Yeah, Emily, we can say we've seen some of your montage. We've seen you working on lining up gigs for Charlotte. So I'm happy to have you to have Jack find you wherever you want to be found, in a park, back at your apartment, anywhere where you think it's possible. Jack would be able to track you down.
It's probably at some park. I don't think she's gonna let anyone near her apartment, given the things she has stashed in there.
Yeah, that's right. She's got
it's
a little golden apple,
and she doesn't keep that on her. The apple or the piece of that painting. No, it's completely safe in her apartment. Clearly, no one would ever think of going there.
Building in the corner.
Or yeah. Now I'm suddenly paranoid. I think before Jack gets to her, she's like, take your break, Ram. I'll be doing a bunch of stuff for Charlotte, and I think she's just a moment where she has nothing to think about, and she kind of looks. She pats around her coat and whatnot, looking for Ashley's conscience.
Yeah, this little ladybug comes buzzing up. You're looking for me, Emily? Do you have a question? Asking her help is the first step.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, for one thing, what do you know about me anyway? I mean, you didn't start off
Nope,
as
but
my
I was left
conscience.
to you.
You're
I take Ashley's will very seriously.
Yeah. I tried to do that as well. Do you like being with me?
There's a pause, and then she kind of chirps. I like being useful, and you have a lot of use for a conscience.
Oh, really? Didn't think I would have, but tell me, where do I need help in whatever aspect of my life right now?
It seems to me you want to feel like you belong somewhere, and you're trying to accrue power over other people in order to feel this way. But that's not the only way to belong somewhere. You can also depend on people or take care of people.
And I suppose to you, taking care of people, depending on people, that's not transactional.
No, it's about real
Is it?
relationships, Emily.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've had a chance to have something like that recently. Wouldn't even know where to start at that. Probably not in this place. Everything here is transactional.
There are people that
How
care
did
about
Ashley
you,
deal
Emily.
with it?
I don't know if you haven't noticed, but you have friends.
Sure. I think Emily just looks a bit quite confused. She's like thinking.
And
Ooh.
Jack appears at that point. You find Emily talking to, possibly herself, on a park bench.
Your hair isn't quite great enough. Isn't quite gray enough for that yet.
Given all the stuff we've been doing, I'm surprised my hair hasn't turned gray.
Yeah, just your luck, right?
It's nice to be hanging out without anyone shooting at us for once.
Now, give it a moment. This is Vienna.
I don't know. I would not mind trying for a few days. Maybe you should think of doing that as well. Just, sit back, have a nice chat, maybe go to a party, dance your cares away. You much up for dancing, Jack?
I look at my leg.
The metal one?
Yes. The one that's basically just some pipes and some hardware.
Right. Not a fancy robot leg, just some metal they had lying around to fill out the pieces.
I wasn't much of one for dancing before this. Now, I fear I shall never join the ballet.
You don't need to join the ballet to like dancing, Jack. You just gotta lose an inhibition or two. Besides, ballet's hard. You're gonna put yourself through that to be good at it. The effort to reward ratio is high.
Well, Emily, I'm reasonably sure you don't consider boxing a form of dancing, so that was the only form of dancing I ever actually learned. I became quite good at a step from it, though.
Really? Can you Just kind of like gestures, even though we're at the park. Can you still do it?
Just for it's uncharacteristic, but Jack actually smiles.
Emily, is this offering comfort?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, this is me trying to comfort Jack. Okay. Hope for streamer. I have a -2 at streamer. Okay. I don't really want to make this a leverage thing. I'm just hanging out with Jack.
Wow. That's still a 9.
It's still a 9. It's still pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How do you so on a hit you are both steadied and can clear a condition or a stress. So yeah, like, tell me just a little more about how you're actually trying to like successfully connecting with Jack a little bit here.
Yeah. Also, I just noticed Jack didn't have any conditions or stress to clear, but Emily did, so I'm gonna do that.
Your conscience buzzes in the air. Sometimes helping others lets you help yourself.
Yeah, I think Emily like stands up and will be like, okay, I know I always run because frankly, I'm not you. I bullets go one way, I try to follow them instead of meeting them halfway. But if it's not a bullet, anyone just, I don't know, a club or a bat or anything, do I do this? And she puts on a really, really bad boxing stance. Like it's pathetic. It's disgusting to look at.
And I take a quick bow and say, I hope you don't mind if I lead.
Jack, sometimes, these days, I think I do prefer being led every now and then. And she'll bow to you.
And I'll do a fairly passable box step, which is just basically shifting feet around, like altering stances from boxing. Exactly.
Okay.
Forward,
That is
together, to the side, together, back, together, to the side, together. And it's cracking me up that Jesse is doing that very thing, just sketching it out on the screen in front of the camera.
It's very good. Yeah. So, or Emily, do you join in? Is this is this something where you're following along with Jack and learning the ropes?
Yeah. I mean, it's useful, but it's nice. It's nice. We're at a park. It's peaceful, and we've not had a chance to talk to each other where it's not either bullets are flying or we're at a graveyard. It's nice. Emily's gonna follow along.
Yeah, some birds fly by. Some children are like chasing a ball that's rolling around in the park. It's a moment of peace. I guess my question is: do either of you feel you're lowering your guard in this moment?
I am definitely.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't think Jack has much of a guard.
Hmm.
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, unless you're talking about boxing, in which case, yes, he does have his guard up.
He has his boxing guard up, but he's lowering his emotional guard. Nice. Yeah, Emily, do you pick something from the lower the guard list then? Lower your guard list.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me saw that. Let me look at some things. I think because Jack has a tendency to get into a firefight. Let's go with you start to care too much. So that's gonna be great. If they get hurt or betray you, treat as taking serious harm. Great.
That makes sense though. Yeah, but after all these missions together, you're finally getting a moment to kind of bond peaceably, and you realize that you do care about this fellow operative, this strange assemblage of parts that walks like a man and patrols the city unsleepingly. Jack, did you say you were picking something also from the lower your guard list?
I think, it's not much. I don't know that it's necessarily a secret, but it's certainly something personal.
Hmm.
When I talk, and I just start talking about how I learned how to box as a boy, and I didn't realize it until much later in life. Well, not that much later in life. I think I was all of 17 when I joined the army. I managed to fake my enlistment papers, and they weren't checking things too hard. But on the night before I shipped out, danced with a young woman much like this, and I finished the dance like so. And I give Emily a spin and bow. At the time, I thought it was something that was terribly debonair. I thought I was the king of the world. I didn't know that I was just another 17.
I think I got.
Getting ready to get chopped up in a grinder.
Well, it's nice to feel like you're king of the world, even if it's just for a moment.
It is.
Sure, you made that girl feel like a queen.
I tried. Then it was one of, how shall I put it? It was one of those dances, if you catch my drift, where a number of the ladies there were working, if you catch my drift.
Ah.
So I didn't have any money in my pocket, and I proceeded to walk outside and stare at the ocean for the rest of the night. What a nice dance.
Yeah. He's supposed to dance.
This is the most we've heard about Jack's like pre-death life, I think.
Yeah. Emily is like, half was like grateful he shared that with her, and half was like, I don't know if I want to hear that. That bit.
These two. Okay. Yeah. But so I guess my question is, Jack, are you broaching work with Emily, or just having this lovely moment, or is there's something you want to bring her in on?
As nice as this is, Emily, I regret to bring up a matter of business.
Go ahead.
Actually.
Oh.
One that you can help me with. Well, I suppose in a sense they're both things that you can help me with, but one helps you equally as much, if not more. Your friend with the scar.
Oh, him. Lovely. My lovely friend Timothy. Let's see. The night of the auction, we nearly had another run in. It was. Oh, what's he up to now?
Oh, it's not what he's up to. It's who wants him.
Oh.
The Russian.
Someone finally come to... Really?
My old friend Lena.
I thought he was... Oh, yeah, Lena. She's a nice one. Not to say that your friends are normally not nice, but she's quite nice.
Emily, please. Most of my friends are awful people. You don't have to be polite. You can be honest.
I think she gives you a look as if like, do I count as one of your friends?
And I think Jack will lean in, kiss you on the forehead, and say, "Rest assured, I am not counting you among those friends."
I think you just have to like blush at that, and it's like, so the Russians want our scarred friend down.
They would like to talk with him, and Lena and I have an understanding that this knowledge is not suited for mortals. And so we wish to take it out of their hands.
Well, if it's to help you and your friend, then you don't even have to ask anymore. I'm in. What do we need to do?
Find him and, how shall I say this? Render him safe for transport and leave him able to answer questions.
Well, you're in luck. You happen to be talking to possibly the one person in Vienna he can't help but run into. And
I think first. He have such an affection for you. I would hate to. I'd hate to break up your budding romance, but
I've already moved on. Don't worry about it. I think I may have found another to replace him quite soon. But yes, I'm definitely in. Do you want to fold? You think this is something anyone else would be interested in helping you?
I hope so. And then there's the other matter. And this too is something that in many ways will benefit all of us. I spoke with Herr Franz this morning. And he mentioned that since an incident a few days ago, they've been having trouble with their sewers.
More sewer shenanigans, huh?
I'm reasonably certain it's related to the tree. And it's the sort of thing that I don't think the Americans should have.
Does your CIA friend know anything about what's happening down there?
We haven't chatted about that, shall we say. But Herr Franz has assured me that were we to acquire that tree, that he has a place to store it, keep it safe, and unavailable for either of the great powers.
Well, we kind of fucked up protecting that tree last time. We should probably we need to make it up to I think like Emily like remembers like kind of feels Constance like on her.
Thinking about Ashley.
Yeah. The conscience is working out. Who knew?
So here's my question. What's the order of operations here? Are you guys trying to trap Timofey first? Are you trying to recruit further help before embarking on something? Jack, you've been putting forward some thoughts. What's your plan?
I think it's all hands on deck. I mean, to snag and bag Timofey, and then to steal a tree from the sewer under the nose of the CIA, that's going to be a heist from hell. That's some Ocean's 11 stuff right there.
Absolutely. All right. So first step, find Joske and Valentine and have a little more of a fuller complement of operatives here.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Including Lena. And you know what the hell? Why not Trip? Always got to learn.
I'm not sure you're going to be able to get your CIA handler to join you on a mission that your Soviet handler has given you.
He's got to learn how to work with the other side when it benefits both.
Well, I'll let you make that case to him. Let's check in on our other operatives, and yeah, I guess it's always the like dilemma of pre-cell phone games. I think Valentine is just a like fairly big presence wherever he goes. So if you start like asking around, saying like, did you see a like extremely charismatic man with sunglasses going this way, people will eventually be able to point you towards where Valentine has gone. Valentine, does that sound right?
If I may,
Yes.
maybe it's just the case that there's a few places we drop in at certain times throughout the day to see if there's messages left for us. Like a cigar stand or
Yeah,
cafe.
that makes sense. Just like some sort of a message system such that we can say, all right, after a little bit of time, the operatives are able to gather together. So Joske, Valentine, anything else you wanted to do at the site you were investigating, or elsewhere? All right, then let's put this whole quartet together and say, all right, is this at the cafe? Is this outside? Where you can do more direct plotting of violence.
This definitely has to be done outside the cafe. I mean, we can plot the heist inside the cafe, but yeah.
All right, fair enough. Jack, paying close attention to the exact words of these rules, fair enough. But yeah, where do you? Let's say you got a message to these others. Where do you have them meet you?
Probably my apartment.
Oh, at Jack's place. Yeah. So if I remember correctly, like pretty spare, save for the weapon boxes hit under the bed.
It's I mean, it's a cot. It's literally a cot. I don't even think there's a chair in there. There might be a wash basin. There's probably a mirror, although I don't know why. Funny thing, hair keeps growing after you shit after you're dying, but not beard hair. Strangely enough. So,
Valentine, what's your perspective on these extremely minimalist digs that your friend Jack is calling home?
I see. It's very of the mode, I suppose. And I kind of look around. I kind of shift. I kind of like push a chair slightly to the side.
Just
That's
making
better.
some adjustments. Joske, are you reacting to these accommodations? It seems like your apartment, though secluded, is a little more full of creature comforts. If I remember correctly from when we heard about it before. So Jack's place kind of bare, I assume like whitewashed walls, right? Like just one window, one cot, not much to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
How's what do we see? Is Joske being polite about it?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were just yes. All of what you just said is true. I didn't hear a question. I apologize if you asked one. Yeah, it's. I mean, my place is, as you said, full of creature comforts. It's cozy, and well appointed. And look, I don't judge people for how they want to live their lives, but I don't want to spend a ton of time here.
Looking a little antsy as the four assemble.
Yeah, like I'm looking for a chair. I'm looking for like an ashtray. I think at a certain point I go over to the I go over the window and like ash my cigarette out the window.
Joske, dear, judging people is one of the finest hobbies in life.
Jack should live how he wants to live. Anyways, what's the story here?
Well,
Why are we here?
you may have been acquainted with an individual named Timofey. Charming
Never heard of him.
gentleman. Huge scar on his face. Occasionally has lightning.
Maybe I've heard of him. I don't know, but
He's well acquainted with Emily. The Russians want him. We give him to the Russians. He'll at least leave Emily alone for a while. I like Emily, and I'd like to help our friend. And, well, that helps the Russians and gets us some favor from them. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, Valentine, do you remember when lightning was coming at us? Yeah, that was him. I said Valentine.
I wasn't there. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
yes, terribly garish.
Yes, he seems to have walked out of a comic book and thinks that what we do is on par with a comic book. He's not subtle. He is quite gauche. He's tried, well, lots of people have tried to kill lots of us probably over the years, but he's doing it to me, I guess. And now
For fun, profit, do you know?
well, we just kind of keep running into each other on opposite sides.
I mean, he's tried at least twice now, hasn't he? There was that rooftop business and the warehouse business.
And that's the job, isn't it?
Joske being totally practical about this. Here's a question.
Well, yeah. Well,
is somebody trying to make a stand to sway someone here? Is someone using leverage?
Yeah, and just to be clear, like outside of this, I'm going to go along. I have no problem doing this. I'm not going to I'm not like pushing for anything here. I'm just kind of being a jerk before I say yes, because that's Joske's stance at the moment.
You know, what the hell?
Is this a paramour situation, Emily? Should Victoria be jealous?
If he's a former lover, I understand why you might want to off him. Like that, I could get behind.
You know, I want to trigger my sacrificial release move.
Okay, tell me about that.
This is one of those moments when I'm just going to use my size to remind everybody how big I actually am. I mean, it's like I sort of slump down and try to hunch over because otherwise, like showing my true height at this, particularly in this era, is just it's quite phenomenal because I'm like 6'4", 6'5", and even being dead, like they sewed some pretty hefty body parts onto me.
Yeah,
so I weigh in at like 250.
They made you a beast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically like, a professional wrestler who occasionally returns from the dead. But I'm just going to loom over people and say, listen, this loathsome creature has tried to harm Emily. Now, whether you like Emily or not is not at issue. He has tried to harm one of us. And whatever else we may be, we are about all we have. I'm going to help Emily. I'm going to open my considerable store of weapons, and I intend to do as much harm to him as is necessary to bring him to heel so that we can deliver him to Lena for questioning. Your help would be greatly appreciated and will be reciprocated in the future.
Oh, well, why didn't you phrase it like that, Emily? Of course I'll go along with that. Did you want any souvenir of him before handing him over, though? So I'm saying that to Emily.
Just to check in, Jack, are you triggering once more onto the breach also? When you give a rousing speech to rally the troops?
I think I am.
Nice.
Can I just clarify what the intent of that was? because before you roll, just because I want to get a sense, was that like it felt like intimidation, which Joske would not have liked, rather than like camaraderie.
Well, in Joske's case, because I was getting to that, it's like I intend to help each of you with your goals. And I was going to kick a case under the bed and it was going to flip open, showing a ridiculous amount of weaponry in it.
Right. Yeah. Like the last part about reciprocation I got. I just wanted to see whether there was also like a pushing us around kind of piece. What was intended there? Because I want to read you the way you want to be read.
Basically, I am a large man. This tiny little woman who somehow survives jumping off of rooftops is my friend. I am going to help her. I would greatly appreciate it if you would as well.
Got it. So it was like being protective of Emily. That's endearing. Awesome. I'm good.
But as I said, Emily, did you want to keep any part of him, perhaps as a trophy or souvenir?
Emily thinks about this. She does like taking souvenirs.
Does the conscious speak up at this point?
It's a little much to be taking bits of him like he's an animal you're hunting, man. I understand striking back at someone who's putting you and others in danger, but this isn't some sort of a game, Emily.
Yeah, like she hears that and it's like it's not some sort of game. But I think like her gaze lands to like Jack and kind of like remembers, oh yeah, wait, no, they're kind of like the same thing. Taking a piece of Timothy for herself is kind of like doing it to Jack. So it's like, no, he's a creep and a bastard, and just give him all to whoever wants him. And no, he's not. For the record, we were never anything at all. The only place we've met is under duress. Usually him throwing lightning bolts at me.
So it's one-sided.
It's incredibly one-sided. I tried to tell him, but he keeps throwing lightning in my face.
All right, so as not to get too far away from the so that get too far away from what I did think was a rousing speech to rile the troops. I'd love to see Jack make that dreamer roll for once more into the breach.
Okay, and which tab is the? Is it on the safety and resources? Yes, there it is. Roll dice.
It is, yes, and I'll drop it into the chat just in case as well.
Okay. That is a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Okay, very nice. So everyone listening to you can clear all stress. That'd be more dramatic if we were more stressed out, but it's still pretty cool. However, something about your own words rings hollow to you. So Jack, you are going to mark a stress, is how this move works. So Jack, what is it that like gives you a sort of secret nagging doubt as you're laying out this this inspiring plan for the others?
I think, oddly enough, I think I'm just going to go with the question that Jesse raised, and I think I felt more intimidating toward people that I like than I intended to be.
It makes you wonder: are you kind of a bully on some level? Despite the best of your intentions. The other effect of once more into the breach is the let's see. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. The first PC to take up the charge rolls with advantage. So, if you guys are coming aboard and someone wants to kick us off here, right, doing something towards tracking down our target, you get an advantage from Jack's ringing words. Joske, what are you thinking?
So maybe I could try to enter his dreams. I was gonna go for I can't remember the painter's name right now, but the painter's dreams at some point. But that's one way to try to track him down.
Oh wow! Wow. So as in just going into the dream realm and then trying to find a particular person's dreams.
Well, the way the move is phrased, right? When you enter a sleeping person's dream, right? So, I mean, I guess the question is, how do I then target? So we're like thinking this through fictionally. Like, I would probably have to go into the dream realm. Like, I couldn't. How do I target a particular person's dream? Right? Is a question here that I think that the move sort of leaves open.
Yeah.
To
me, it feels like probably it takes something, either a little more intel or like getting spooky to give you that entry.
Right. And I have no idea whether he's asleep or not. I mean, what time of day is it?
I don't know. What time of day did you tell everyone to meet here, Jack?
Probably late afternoon, heading into evening.
All right.
The sun's starting to go down.
We'll say some odds he might be asleep, because who knows what type of hours he keeps as an operative, right? But there's a chance he's asleep, and presumably if you're able to get a bead on his dreams, you'll also know whether he's asleep.
Emily, given that you have this history with this person, do you maybe have some kind of a token, an object, blood, spit, hair, or just I don't know, a bit of cloth torn from a cuff in a scuffle?
You've probably
a burn from his lightning. He shot you with lightning, right?
You probably got like an electrical burn from that from that first encounter on the rooftop.
That's a fairly personal mark.
I'm trying to think. I did press a gun to his face. Because I'm trying to remember. I don't think she actually got hit, because she jumped off the roof before she got hit.
Yeah, I think you'd dodged his electricity, but maybe you got a little bit singed at the time. If that sounds good to you, and makes for a
I mean, this is mostly I'm looking for fictional permission to get spooky. I think, right? I think that's the right. I don't know that I could go from that to going into a dream, but I could use that to pick up a trace to go into a dream, perhaps.
Let's say he singed my hat when we were at the warehouse fight.
You hung on to the hat he blasted off your head with electricity. I remember that.
That's great. Yeah. So describe this hat to me as you hand it to me. Let's pretend you have it on you.
It is the hat that I've got in her picture. But it's not as neat as that picture implies. There's a bullet hole through it.
It's been through some stuff.
It's been through quite a bit. There's there's a bullet hole that's I think she's wrapped a scarf around it. Not a scarf, a bandana around it to cover up the bullet hole. And you can see there's a scorch mark on the brim as well.
Yeah, so I think I take a whiff of the scorch mark, and I kind of run my fingers around the brim. I put it on my head, right? I let it sort of settle there. And I try to sort of attune myself to the intelligence that burned it.
That totally makes sense as it gets spooky to me.
Yeah, to give it a shot.
With advantage, because you heard Jack's whole speech.
And my fable's 1, I think, right?
I believe so.
Yes. Okay. Let's roll dice with my friends. And that is a 9.
With advantage, you can.
I roll third die. That's right.
Yeah. So perhaps it'll be okay. We'll ignore that one.
Roll a 9.
All right. On a 9 for get spooky. On a hit, the world warps to your will. So yeah, you're gonna get a bead on the strange electrical dreams of Timofey. You're just gonna have to choose 2 of these drawbacks from the get spooky list.
Well, I'm certainly drawn attention. I think that's quite clear. I don't do this very often, and it's noticeable.
Just to anyone attuned to the sort of psychic side of Vienna.
Yeah, particularly the dreamy psychic side, but could be anybody.
Maybe to the guy you're spying on.
Possibly he realizes I'm attuning with him. Possibly it's harpies from Hypnos. Possibly it's Nazi nightmare elves. Who knows? All kinds of.
If you just stop brooding, the harpies would not be attracted to you.
And let's mark a stress.
Yeah, that totally. It totally makes sense that your sanity would be sort of strained by this, by like dropping into this. But yeah, we'll say we'll say you get kind of like hazy images of a bombed out church and a and a cemetery and a man just sleeping in a coffin, like a vampire in a movie.
Do I know where it is? Do I recognize it?
It's not immediately obvious where in the city.
So I can't send them ahead when I go into his dreams.
But he's asleep at the moment. You're kind of in like, I don't know. Can you give me a sense of what sort of visual Joske gets?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a. I given the description you gave, I think what it is that this is me kind of moving through the dream world, right? But like in an astral kind of sense. Like I'm not like going through I'm not going through a thin space to physically enter the dream world, right? But I'm sort of projecting my consciousness there while I'm awake. And I think this is how my dream entering works also, right? I think if I end up getting sucked physically into dreams, that's not a great thing, although it can happen.
So something's gone wrong if you're physically inside of someone.
Right. Or if I do something like go through within, like the same way that I think like Valentine and Emily walked through into death, right? Like, normally when a living person goes to death, their body is left behind and they die, right? And yet, but Emily walked bodily. Dream is the same way. Normally, when you go into dream, right, you go in kind of with your spirit asleep, but you can go in physically as well in the same way.
Yeah, got it. So this is more like a sort of a psychic projection.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I sort of like follow. And I think I don't say anything to them. I think I just if everyone else is okay with this, I think I say I'm just gonna dive right in then, and I want to see. I physically describe what I'm seeing to them, so they have something to work on to work with. I don't want to just like leave them high and dry. Mm-hmm. They have all the information I have.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can find out something more. And I want to dive into his dreams.
Let's make that roll.
Plus dreamer.
That's a plus streamer, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And that is a 10.
The dice love you. On a hit, you're in and can find your bearings easily, and their sleep isn't disturbed at all. Okay, yeah. So we're entering this dream. I think it's
and I think just in terms of like my sort of goals here, I just kind of want to find out where he is so we can make the next move. And I guess if I could incapacitate him some way, that would be great. But I've had a lot of spotlight right now. So if we want to be able to cut over and not have me do a whole dream sequence thing, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, certainly. We'll
mm-hmm.
check in with folks, but yeah, I think if the rest of our movie isn't in black and white, then this sequence definitely like goes into black and white here, mm-hmm. right? And you're seeing what looks like a MC Escher version of some kind of strange science lab. There's a lot of Tesla coils and whatnot, right? But that's the sort of basic of the dreamscape. But we'll since the goal is pinpoint a little bit where where Timofey seems to be, we'll say you're able to you're able to tell the others kind of like, I don't know, are you like sort of like murmuring under your breath?
Yeah, I think I'm narrating. I think I'm narrating what I'm seeing as I like, not under my breath, right out loud.
Okay. Cool. So even though you're doing the projection, you're able to like speak normally.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that. Like, I mean, I don't know that I could. I'm fairly certain I couldn't carry on a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I am at, but like I can certainly say my mouth and vocal cords still work. I'm not like as aware. I'm not aware of them so much, but like that I can physically work those parts.
So all right, you tell them what you learned, which is that Timofey is at Old St. Michael's, at the edge of the Russian sector, church that was heavily affected by Allied bombing before the occupation.
And what's he dreaming of? I mean, what's he dreaming about?
He's dreaming about this laboratory. There's there's kind of like bodies in coffin like glass containers, and like electricity being run through them, and you feel like almost your own hair is like standing on end every time the electricity sparks within the dream.
Okay, yeah, and he's I say, well, this certainly is electrifying.
Does someone want to roll the mission roll? Like, are we gonna try to just like head over to the place we now have?
And if you want me to stay in his dream, I will, or I can snap out. This is to the rest of the team.
Oh no, we wouldn't want you to do anything too shocking.
I'm not sure which one is shocking there, though. I guess stay in the dream.
All right, submission roll.
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, let's turn to that. So, when you embark on a mission with allies, specify your basic approach. Making a stealthy entry, go again, guns blazing. What do we think? What does the mission look like in the in sort of the ideal way, the ideal form here? Jack,
Go in quick and quiet. Grab and bag Joske.
No, you got Joske here.
Okay, Timofey. If they're prepping these bodies and they're already dead, we destroy as much of the equipment as we can, as quietly as we can, burn as much of the notes as we can. We may just need to blow up the entire building to cover our scope.
Okay, so get in quick and quiet, but possibly blow everything up.
Well, yes, but on departure.
Yeah.
Blowing things up as we go in is not the plan.
Emily, Joske, Valentine, does that sound right to you? Any differences of approach you'd put forward? All right.
I mean, why else are we bringing along Jack? If not to blow everything up.
Do you have good intel about the mission? I think you now kind of do. Joske scouted ahead through the dream realm to great effect. And do you have resources or connections that will help with the mission? Maybe?
I think we do. I mean, there's
the contents of Timofey's brain.
Yeah, I mean, the content, like Jesse just said, the contents of Timofey's brain. Emily has a connection with Timofey for some undetermined reason, so there's a connection there.
All right.
That'll probably help at least a little bit.
That's +2. Does everyone participating trust the leader's competence and intentions? Well, who's the leader for this one?
I think that kind of falls on my shoulders. Unless
of course.
You did give the whole rallying speech. Does everyone trust Jack's competence and intentions? Emily?
Yes,
Valentine?
certainly.
Yeah. What?
Joske?
100%. He is nothing if not clear about his intentions, and he's very competent to do exactly this thing.
Jack, do you trust your competence and intentions?
I mean, we're doing a snag and bag, yes.
And is everyone being upfront about their own agendas and motives for the mission? Valentine?
I mean, I have no other motive here than murdering someone that's trying to hurt dear Emily.
We're going to snag him. Somebody else may do the murdering later.
Yeah, Emily, Joske?
I heard something about reciprocity and a giant box of guns, so my motives are pretty transparent here too.
What could go wrong? You've got a +2 for the mission roll. Jack, you're the leader. Go ahead and make the roll.
That's a 7.
Good thing you had +2.
Right?
Okay. On a 7 to 9, you're in the thick of things. You're hitting a snag, but you're still in the game. The MC will tell you who marks stress. Cool. All right. I say let's take our break now, and we'll pick up with the mission kicking off here. Yeah, let's take 13 and come back at on the hour itself.
Okay.
All right. See you then. So unfortunately, I see Leandro has dropped off. I'm shooting him a quick message just to see if we can bring him back into the fold. So take just a few moments, see if we can have everyone gathered here. Hey, there you are, Leandro. Sorry, were you waiting there for long?
No, I had internet problems. I only just got in.
All right, figured. Sorry. Ignore my messages via Slack and email because I was checking in, but glad to have you back. All right. If we're all back, we're picking up with this mission. It was a 7 on the mission roll. So what that means is you're in the thick of things, you're hitting a snag, but you're still in the game. So help me paint the scene a little bit here. Jack, what was one small like trap or obstacle that you successfully cleared as you made the exfiltration right into this burned out church, old St. Michael's here?
Well, we got past their security systems just fine. What we weren't expecting was that there would be people awake inside.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking maybe part of it is you guys are through the church into the graveyard, headed towards the little like kind of like a little monument, basically a little larger tomb, where Joske has pinpointed Timofey's little sleeping coffin, right? And then there's this like electrical pulse that seems to go through the ground, on this approach. Your metal leg gets suddenly caught, suddenly sparking with this electricity. So I'm gonna have you mark a stress there, and the rest of you see just classic, right? Hands punching up out of the graves here. Like you realize these are shallow graves, and there's people just below the dirt that are pulling their way to the surface as if in response to that electrical impulse there. Valentine, what's the how can you tell that the harpies are sort of circling but not striking yet?
You can usually tell in the shadows along the ground. If there's the wrong number, then they're nearing.
Joske, what's it when you're
Like I can see the presence of their shadows. Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you heard me or not. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. That totally makes sense. Extra shadows indicating the harpies are not striking yet, but certainly looming. Joske, you kind of pinpointed the place here. Do you retain some kind of connection to the dreamer whose dream you most recently peeked at?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same. I don't know that I could follow that trail that I followed in the dream world to him, like physically, without having connected in the dream. Right, the geography of the dream world is not the same as the geography of the waking world. But it's not like a simple overlay. But having been in his dream, I think sort of still I still have that kind of lingering connection. And we've lost Alexi. Still
Sorry,
have
game now. Okay.
Sorry,
as I was saying, we still do have a lingering connection. Yeah, so I still have that lingering connection to Timothy, I think, and so I maybe have like a sense of where in the building he is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's pulling you towards this like small kind of like monument tomb thing out in the graveyard, right? Like I think we're through the ruins of the church in the the ruins of the graveyard, as it were. There's headstones knocked over. Certainly, there's also hands sprouting up out of the ground. Emily, how do you kind of like narrowly avoid one of these hands reaching towards you at first?
I've lost a shoe.
Great. Once again, Emily, cursing at the shoes she's lost to the mission.
Yeah. At least I've learned this time. I'm wearing some of my crappier. I was meaning to throw these out shoes. These didn't bring my nice heels because I don't need those.
Yeah, you don't need nice heels
just
for snatching and grabbing an enemy from a graveyard, certainly. But yeah, Jack, your fearless leader, kind of seems taken by surprise, right, by this electrical pulse that ran through his metal leg, kind of brought him stumbling down. I don't know. Do you catch yourself on a grave or something, Jack? What do we see?
I don't think it actually makes me stumble. I think it just like kind of shocks me and kind of seizes up my left side a little bit.
Oh, like kind of like half of you is sort of trailing now.
Yeah, just like, ugh. And it comes back relatively quickly, but still, it's annoying.
Throws you off your game for a moment there, Emily. Yeah.
Is Jack hurt enough that I have to take serious harm? He did mark a stress, I guess.
He marked a stress. Yeah, you started to care too much.
And here's the thing: does this caring about chain? Because I care about Emily still from last session as well.
I think so. Here's the thing. I think it does chain. Let's see Emily's result, because if she weathers this really well, you may not even notice what's happening. If she doesn't weather it really well, it may hit you hard.
Wow.
Emily, what happened? What's going on here?
Oh, I've not rolled yet. Let's see. I think I'm cursed. I used to be very lucky, but now my shoe is gone. Then I see executed. Oh, come on. I keep rolling high.
High is not good for this one.
Yeah, it's not good. It's really
You don't have any stress marked, fortunately. So this is just a 10 plus on take serious harm. So you choose 2 from the take serious harm list.
Yeah, I think. I just burn. I think I'm gonna mark 2 stress. Just gonna grit my teeth, push you like it's Jack. He have lightning in him, so can Jack. He'll be fine. But I think I'll give ground. I think I get caught up with like trying to like extrapolate. Wait, hold on. Jack. How's Jack? No, Jack's fine. Is Jack fine? Has he ever been fine?
Has Jack ever been fine? And suddenly, pale hand covered in dirt, like grabbing you, by like the back of your clothes, and you find yourself like pulled down onto the ground, right, by whoever it is that's pulling their way out of the grave right here. Does that work for you for giving ground?
Yeah. I'm not injured because falls don't injure me.
Falls don't injure you.
Even though this is a very tiny fall, but it doesn't injure me. But yeah, I'm fine with being like, caught up there.
You're stressed and you've given ground, but you're not injured. That's true. Valentine, I do think you have to roll this because Emily just got yoinked by a zombie. Oh, you are muted at the moment.
Sorry, I thought I tried to hit it. I guess it didn't take. Let me see here what I get. And that is an 8. And I have 0 stress right now, so
all right.
It's just an 8.
On the 709, you take your lick, so you just pick 1 from the take serious harm list as this chain reaction unfolds.
Yep. Let's see here. Breaks. Give ground to the opposition. Yeah, I guess I will also mark stress.
Got it. Yeah, it's like Emily sees Jack, stumble. She's like, "Oh no! All right, I'm pushing through." Then she gets grabbed. We cut to like Valentine looking over, looking over his sunglasses. Sees
yeah,
Emily
this is. I don't know if it's because I care about Emily or if it's just because of like, oh, these people.
We know it's because you care about Emily.
Yes, I know.
Now we just need to get Joske caring about Valentine and me caring about Joske.
It's dangerous to care.
That's gonna take a couple more sessions, but we'll get there.
I mean, that would be a daisy chain of catastrophe.
Joske, your whole crew are like flailing for the moment, as enemies are emerging from the ground under your feet. What do you do?
So I actually legitimately think that the quickest way out is through. I have a lot of faith in their competence, and also
for some reason.
I think I probably know the guy who's in charge here.
You think you do?
You said I could maybe roll this based on the dream.
You connected with his dream. Yeah, let's roll. Gotta stop meeting like this.
Yeah, which is plus
operator,
which is terrible.
It's -1. Let's see what happens.
Maybe we'll see what the result is before I decide what I do here. But let's see what I've rolled. That is a 5.
Okay. Yeah. So
why does he want me dead?
Yeah. I mean, you have to tell me that. I think it says I must tell the MC why they want you dead. I'll give you just a little more information.
Yeah,
You're declaring him an old friend. We'll say, yes, while you were kind of bouncing around different ideologies, at some point you met,
what do I know about? Can you tell me what I know about him based on the fact that he's an old friend, and I can tell you why he wants me dead?
Maybe you met him when he was like an idealistic young man, from somewhere in Eastern Europe who was volunteering for this experimental program that the Communist Army was launching. I was saying,
is it so pre-war,
or yeah? I mean, maybe like between war, at the point where many people thought the next war was about to break out, right?
Did I think this was Emily's ex, but it's actually yours?
Maybe. So yeah, like right, but so yeah. So I think it's no. This is why he wants to kill me. Oh fuck. It was like this is like maybe like one of the great shames of my life, and it's why I didn't want to tell anyone that I knew him. But so I think it's before the war. I'm like a kid, right? I'm imagining I'm like if it's before World War II, I'm probably like 16, 17 years old, right? He's probably what, his early 20s. He seems like he's a little bit older. Is that the
Yeah, I mean, hard to judge the age of someone who keeps
Right.
kind of coming back to life, right?
right? But like,
yeah.
but I mean, I know, or right?
Then a little bit older makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think the story was that like so I was part of at that time I was part of the Bund, which was a like Jewish socialist nationalist group. They had chapters. This was a particularly Polish chapter, but international socialism and whatever sub faction that he was a part of, we were collaborating on something. And I recruited him for the project, kind of knowing what it was, but not really.
Oh man,
right?
Not knowing the extent of its
right.
strange...
And I wasn't a part. I was like on the fringes of it. Like I knew, but I was told that this is we are going to build the worker of tomorrow. We are going to build the the hero of the working class.
Modern technology.
It was sold as the communist. I mean, not in these words, but the way the super soldier program was sold as but not nationalist, right? For international socialism instead. And I talked him into it. We were like friendly, and I brought him in, and then I think I saw him once during the war when I was fighting with partisans before I was caught. He was fighting for the Soviet army, and there was like a goods exchange or something, and he didn't say anything. We didn't actually have a conversation, but I just saw the hatred in his eyes.
They may have literally flashed.
Yeah, like for what this did to him physically and mentally.
Yeah. So there's like a crackle of electricity, kind of like that seems almost like it's sort of specifically around you, Joske, right? Even though there's sort of electricity arcing in a bunch of places here now, you feel almost like it's meant for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel that also feels like a stress on top of just
sure.
revelation there. There's the stress of okay, and now perhaps a reunion. Jack, you stumbled, and then your whole team seemed to sort of flinch and falter. What do you do?
Well, I'm still trying to be quiet, so I'm just going to pull out the machete that I brought along and start hacking at hands.
Classic approach. So just everywhere where hands are starting to pop up out of the ground, you're going chop chop.
I am focusing on freeing up Emily and Valentine first, but yes.
Yeah, cool. Let's
hands reach to get chopped down.
It sounds like resorting to violence unless you think it's something else.
Gardening a particularly untidy yard.
Let's roll plus weapon. Because I think probably you take something away from them could be just Emily, right? If suddenly the arm that was grabbing her is no longer attached to whatever was moving it.
That's a fail.
Wow.
But I have experience, right?
You do mark experience. Oh, Joske mark experience for that for the recent fail as well. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I think you swing the machete, and it's like you're chopping into a live wire, right? It's like there's an electrical connection that just travels up through that metal into you. So, Jack, it's your turn to take serious harm, I'm afraid.
Well, that's a 4.
Hey, and even with your 2 stress, that's still a 6. How do you manage to shrug off the blow?
It's a wooden handle. It's insulated.
Nice. All right. So the machete.
But I do yell out, "Don't use metal on these things. They're wired, or rather, they're electric."
Yeah, bunch of live wires here.
You know what the worst part of it is?
What's that, Jack?
You know what the worst part of this is?
Not sure I do.
Timofey's been raising them. So I can't even say that I know that they deserve violence. I mean, they're in the same situation that I am. They just need to be dead.
Just a bunch of poor corpses conscripted for somebody else's war.
You know, that kind of actually sums up the entire game, doesn't it?
Jack, will you let's see. Yeah, you don't need to take you took the serious harm. You're able to shrug off the blow, but you've got you've learned a valuable lesson about trying to use metal on these guys. Emily, I'll say, since Jack leapt in there, honestly, sacrificially, putting himself in danger to protect you, you have a moment to wriggle free, or at least an opening. What do you do?
Yeah. So if I got the lay of the land right, we're all kind of like in deep shit at the moment.
You're in a graveyard being attacked by undead forces rising from their graves.
Okay, all right. I think I will try to like wriggle free and make myself a distraction by calling out to Timofey.
Wow, what does that sound like?
I think no, it's not gonna be like that, Pocket. I think I'm getting up from, and I'm getting up and I'm seeing like the chaos happening around us, and I think I can see where he would be sleeping, right?
It's a big old kind of like monument, partially like a little bit destroyed, but yeah, Joske identified that as where his coffin was.
I think Emily's just gonna shout, "Hey Timofey, if you want to get a win in your column, maybe you should stop napping."
So this is just kind of taunting someone.
Yeah, I want him to focus on me so that everyone else can take him down.
Let's call that leverage, right? Because you hold leverage on Timofey because you've learned that you live rent free in his head.
Yes, yeah. Oh yes, that's not a roll, right? So that's with a +1.
It's a roll now, absolutely. Yeah, roll plus the leverage you hold on them.
Yeah. Okay. Been rolling so well tonight. That's a big old boxcars, right? No, not boxcars. Snake eyes. The opposite.
All right. Let's make sure we're following the leverage mechanic. So when you put pressure on an NPC, you hold leverage over to get what you want. Like in this case, them being distracted and focusing on you. Roll plus the leverage. On a miss, you've overplayed your hand. They do as they please, and you take disadvantage on trying to stop them. Okay, so that's the miss condition. Let me tell you, however, to give up a leverage to push the result up to the next tier. So a miss becomes a 7/9, 7/9 becomes a 10+. Say how you give up that hold over the NPC and how you make sure they believe you. So you have that option if you want to somehow give up your hold over Timofey to like really to try to push this up from a miss to a 7/9. That's available.
Okay, I will give up that leverage, and I think I'm gonna do that to just piss him off even further. I think by shouting, how How have you been walking around Vienna knowing you let a little girl take an apple off you?
just taunting him with every time you've succeeded and he's failed.
Yeah. Apples, paintings, reconstructed water spirits, Scottish doctors, the works. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like we see basically like a reverse lightning strike where like, everything goes calm for a moment and then electricity blasts up and out of this tomb. It's like bits of it are flying everywhere. And a rudely awakened Timofey is like suddenly like staring at you saying, Landau, you come to my home of all the insolent, and he like can't even like quite like form the sentence, but he's focused right on you. Good job.
Someone else capitalize, please.
All right, we're nearly at time, so probably whatever the next roll is will like drop us into our cliffhanger, for better or worse. Valentine, I want to check in. What do you do?
Well, let's see. Can I actually do that with that move, or is that only? No. Okay. No, actually, yes. I mean, there are an awful lot of spirits around here that should not be in the mortal realm, and that I have not provided. I think that what would happen if I were to knock at the door of the realm beyond and call upon whatever forces make certain that spirits flow one way?
I see. You're basically calling in family to say, hey, there's a bunch of escapees.
Oh yeah, that would be
here.
calling in family. I don't have that. I was forgetting that that's the thing. I was thinking of trying to get spooky here.
You could get spooky, yeah. The like more specific moves sometimes give you a little more control, but you can always try to get spooky to do something supernatural.
Yeah, like I'm not trying to enter the realm, but I am trying to like open up a like opening into it. Like so it doesn't this isn't navigating the labyrinth, but it is like basically trying to open up basically, kind of see if I can't like vacuum out some of these spirits we don't want in the area.
Oh, so like the like reanimated bodies would sort of like fall as you remove the spirits that are animating them, basically by turning them in to those who should have custody in your.
Well, of course, yes.
Yeah.
I am nothing if not a upstanding citizen who cares about the law.
Go ahead and roll to get spooky.
And that is an 8.
Tell me a little about what this looks like. Are you like doing some big gesture, Valentine, or is this actually like sort of subtle as you?
I think this is a big gesture. I think that I am full on like drawing my sigil into the ground. Calling out like anything that like I'm currently carving it into like a gravestone, and like anything that comes here knows it's me. So I'm drawing attention and made myself a target for now or later. And they're gonna do things beyond what I meant.
Oh, beautiful. So that'll be our cliffhanger for tonight's session. Is just the like sudden kind of. I don't like. There's a sudden chill, I bet, right? Like a sudden chill and a sudden like, like the sun was setting, but now the whole graveyard is kind of lit in this this kind of like strange sepulchral. Yeah, what do you think?
Yep, I am marking this place of the city as my own, though.
You checking territorial?
Yep.
Taking an
just
XP
so they know who did it.
Everyone's going to know who did it.
Yep.
Are you taking an XP or clearing?
I'm checking an XP.
Very nice. Yeah. Okay. So we see a lot of these zombie arms falling limp, right? These creatures rising from the grave are suddenly stopped, right? And they're resting again. But there's a whispering and a chill and a sense of other spiritual presences just here waiting, watching for what happens next and ready to intervene if they deem fit. But for tonight, we're going to call that a session, and we'll pick up on this cliffhanger when we rejoin next week. So just to check, Jack, any of those end of session moves apply for you? Shifting ideology, advantageous insight, how another operative can tell you to take a bullet for them. Just looking at the end of session moves tab here.
And okay. I think Emily knows that I would take a bullet for her at this point.
Yeah, that's really nice. That was such a great boxing dancing scene. Jack, go ahead and take one of Emily's stresses for yourself. Emily, any of these end of session choices apply?
I wish I could also choose describe how an operative can tell you to take a bullet for them. Not yet. It seems like everyone would take a bullet for her, but she hasn't really shown that she'd take a bullet for them. Well, not everyone.
Buzzes in her ear about this.
It's like she hasn't shown it yet. Maybe we stop in the middle of cliffhanger. We'll see how this getting attention on her pays off. Well, actually, getting all that attention on her kind of shows that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's what that is.
Yes,
that's what you did.
The thing is, I don't want to reverse what Jack just did. That's the thing.
Would you take the stress from any of the other operatives that you're helping, or you feel like Jack is the one you care about most?
Maybe I'll take the stress off Valentine just because I don't like him, and I'm proving that I'll still take a bullet for him.
Aw, that's kind of sweet. Joske, any of these end of session choices feel applicable?
Yeah, I was like living rent free in Timofey's head, quite literally. And I think between what I know from his past and what I learned from his dream, right, which is right that between the sort of the super soldier project and the lab that he dreams of obsessively, I think I know what he's hung up on, and what he dreams of at night.
Take that leverage,
that gives me some leverage.
Wonderful. And finally, Valentine, any choices on the end of session?
I know, of course, what Joske wants, and I'll be sure to deliver it to him. I gain leverage on him.
Oh, interesting. From having that scene together where you were investigating and kind of beating the bounds of Vienna, finding the thin places.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, sounds like that. I saw some thumbs up from Jesse there. So take that leverage. Thank you all for joining for this session tonight. To anyone watching along, thanks for being part of this. Stay safe out there, and see you next time.